What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 5-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. I just did a live before lock show for a 6-game MLB early slate, and I just couldn't stay away for this 5-game main slate. So right now, make sure to hit that like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel to see all the content we have going on from Awesemo all day long. And if you want to win a free week of Awesemo Plus, make sure to like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. Nobody got it right last time out, but I believe in you guys to get on track and give away the first week of Awesemo Plus on this new reboot of the Four Corners. So like this video and comment your double dong pick. The guy I think is going to hit 2 home runs today down in the comments below. We will pick that person. One person per video can win that free week of Awesemo Plus. So like the video and comment it. But especially after an early morning live before lock and my brain turning to putty as I do this video, we've got no time to waste here in the Four Corners. Let's get right into our first corner of the top stacks on today's slate, lovingly curated as always by Awesemo Baker. The top stack on the main slate looks to be the Blue Jays at the Royals, with an unknown amount of implied runs because the Vegas total isn't out for this one yet. But they have a 13.4% chance of being the top stack with 14% ownership expected. As I mentioned, the Vegas totals for this game are not out yet due to Toronto's starting pitcher being unknown. But the hitter should have a clear pathway to upside against Jacob Junis. Junis allows a 5.2 xFIP and a 4.8% home run rate to right-handed batters. And Toronto's lineup has a ton of pop, with 6 hitters above a 210 ISO versus right-hand pitching. Our next to the top stacks looks like the Rays versus the Rangers with 4.7 implied runs, a 13.3% chance of being the top stack, and 13% ownership expected. Tampa faces Jordan Lyles, a pitcher who struggles mightily against left-handed batters with a 1.7 whip and a 231 ISO allowed. Austin Meadows and Brandon Lowe in particular have big power upside at the top of the order, with both lefties over a 250 ISO versus right-hand pitchers. And our third of the top stacks on this 5-game slate is the Dodgers versus the Rockies with 4.7 implied runs, a 12.6% chance of being the top stack with 13% ownership expected. The Dodgers faced Austin Gomber, a pitcher who's been mostly unimpressive in a limited MLB sample size with a 5.2 xFIP overall. Gomber won't pitch deep and will yield to an iffy Rockies bullpen that allows a 5.3 xFIP of their own, a high upside spot for the Dodgers at sky-high prices for everyone besides catcher Will Smith. Now into our next corner, the top pitchers on the slate, again curated by our own Awesemo Baker. And the number one pitcher on the top pitchers tool is Julio Urias versus the Rockies with a 35% chance of being the top pitcher, along with 37% ownership expected. Urias has had mediocre strikeout stuff over the last season and change with only a 20% K rate. He does face a bad Colorado lineup, albeit only one with 4 guys who strike out above league average, but Urias seems safe in a rock-solid cash play. If he does remain a bit overowned, he could be fated to find a pitcher with some more strikeout upside. Another of the top pitchers looks like Rich Hill versus the Rangers with a 33% chance of being the top pitcher, along with 35% ownership. Hill also has had mediocre strikeout results recently with a 21.5% K rate over the last season plus, but he faces a Texas lineup with 5 hitters who strike out above league average and have a 29% aggregate K rate. Hill seems like more appealing chalk at a cheaper price than Urias, with a very similar projection from Awesemo. And our last of the top pitchers on the slate looks like Patrick Corbin versus the Diamondbacks with a 25% chance of being the top pitcher, along with 42% ownership. Corbin looks overowned, but on a short slate with a reasonable price tag, he seems worth some exposure versus Arizona's projected lineup at their 27% aggregate K rate. Corbin comes with some risk with a very bad run over the last season plus, including a 308 batting average allowed. But he's also been very unlucky with a 370 batting average on balls in play over that period. And now into our next corner, the top owned plays is always coming straight from the ownership projections that you can get for yourself at awesemo.com/join. And the top owned play overall looks like Patrick Corbin versus the D-backs, who's going to be 42% owned on DraftKings first overall, while it'll be 18% owned on FanDuel. If you believe in unlucky results for a pitcher and regression to the mean, Corbin is a guy to target today on DraftKings as your SP2. Corbin still has a respectable 37% chase rate over the last season. He could get back on track versus a mostly middling Arizona lineup, but it does feel dodgy given the results he's had recently. Another top-owned play looks like Juan Soto versus those Diamondbacks with 45% ownership on FanDuel, number 1 overall, and 28% ownership on DraftKings. Soto wields a massive 295 ISO versus right-hand pitchers, and Merrill Kelly gives up a 45% hard hit rate to left-handed batters. Soto's price is much harder to avoid on FanDuel than DraftKings, but he's a solid, if slightly over-owned play wherever you can play him. And our last of the top-owned plays is Julio Urias versus the Rockies with 42% ownership on DraftKings, number 2 overall, and 22% ownership on FanDuel. Urias doesn't seem to have the strikeout numbers to justify being treated as the chalk pitcher on the slate, but he seems unlikely to struggle too much versus Colorado. Rich Hill appears to be a preferred pivot on both slates with slightly more risk. Avoiding both pitchers would immediately give you a very different lineup construction on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And now onto our last corner, which no jinx has had a home run in it for the last couple videos we've done. The low-owned dart throws that come straight from me. And my first low-owned dart throw is going to be Steven Piscotty from Oakland. And Piscotty's insanely cheap at $2,400 on DraftKings and $2,500 on FanDuel, and he'll face Tariq Skubal, a pitcher who's been massacred by right-handed batters on a limited sample size. With high ownership going to Oakland's other power right-handed batters like Canha, Laureano, and Chapman, Piscotty is a pivot who could get results further down the order. And my next lower-owned dart throw is going to be Randall Grichuk from Toronto. He's not one of the biggest bats in Toronto's lineup, but he projects it clean up with a 210 ISO and a 5% home run rate against the 4.8% home run rate that Jacob Junis allows to right-handed batters. With the rest of Toronto's lineup looking chalky, Grichuk may be under-owned as a value play with some power. My last of the lower-owned dart throw is going to be Nick Ahmed for Arizona. If you don't play Patrick Corbin in a lineup, it's logical to take some hitters against him given his recent unlucky struggles. Ahmed has noteworthy splits versus left-hand pitchers with a 217 ISO at $3,100 on DK and $2,300 on FanDuel. You can easily pay off his price if Corbin blows up yet again. So there you have it, another 4 corners in the book. So right now, hit that like button and make sure to comment your double dong pick down below. I am dying to give away a free week of Awesemo Plus, but you guys got to get it correctly. So make sure you hit that like button and comment your double dong pick in the comments below. And of course, subscribe to the channel to see all the Awesemo content that goes on all day long here. I appreciate you guys for watching. I will see you guys again tomorrow for another 4 corners. So enjoy your days. And of course, good luck.